let's get into everybody's favorite. Let's slay a sacred cow today. As you can see, I've got the glorious pistol diagnostic target. I see this passed around on the internet literally, I'd say daily, but daily would be a complete misconception of the rule. I see this posted literally almost minute by minute or hourly on just about every single group. If somebody posts a video or a picture of themselves with a target that they've shot, there's always some like smooth brain that comes right out and says, hey man, yep, you need to shoot that target so that you can diagnose exactly what's going on in your shooting. And unfortunately, this target does absolutely nothing for your diagnostic ability as a shooter to correct anything that's going on. So I've got a 10-round magazine in an iron sight Glock 48. I'm going to shoot this from a distance of about 7 yards because that's about where everybody tends to shoot when they try to shoot this drill or shoot this target. This target was actually created to be shot at a distance of 25 yards, one-handed. It's very similar to like what bullseye shooters do back in like the 50s and 60s. So I've been told. However, I really don't believe there to ever be like a true story of like exactly where the target was developed, who created it, why it was created or whatnot. But so we're just going to get into the bottom of this. So I'm going to just keep a regular two-hand grip just like I would as a regular shooter. And I'm going to literally try to enforce each of these bad disciplines into my shooting for every single shot. So I've got 10 rounds in the gun. There are 9 different little slices to the pie here. So, and we're going to see if that makes any difference on whether or not it has the true effect to what the target is supposed to diagnose to me. And as you can see for this one, I don't know if the camera will pick it up. This is a left-handed shooter because I am a lefty. This is a left-handed shooter diagnostic chart. So we're going to back up to 7 yards and we'll give this a run. Okay, so we are back here at 7 yards. God, I hate this target. So I am going to purposely try to like make my hands do something different with the gun to see if it gives me the same again diagnostic pattern that the chart's telling me. So for the first one, we're just going to start at 12 o'clock. The first one says breaking wrist up. So I am assuming, because you know there's every expert on every gun page, on every forum and Facebook page, the like, seems to think that this is good, you know, to fix new shooters. This is the be-all end-all target. I'm going to break my wrist up, which means I'm going to, when I draw the gun, right, here's my grip, I'm going to shoot with my wrist broken up and see if that makes any difference in shot placement. So here we go. So I'm going to break my wrist up and fire a shot. Nope. Didn't seem to do anything other than still give me a shot directly in the center of that target. So pie chart number 2, we've got a healing or anticipating recoil. This is one of everybody's favorites. So healing or anticipating recoil, meaning I'm generally going to start pushing on the backside of the gun right before the shot breaks and see if, again, that makes a difference in my level of accuracy on the gun. So I'm going to aim nice and hard and... Did you see it? I sure as hell tried to heal the hell out of that. And damn, I'm still 2 for 2 in the bullseye. I got to keep going. So this says, number 3 says thumbing or squeezing thumb or too much trigger finger. I'm not for sure what the thumbing has to do with anything, considering my thumbs are going to be on the right side of the gun and it's expecting a shot to go right. However, I do know, because this is also another chart that I see passed around all the freaking time, which is that trigger finger placement and how that affects accuracy. That's another myth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to bury my finger, because it says I got too much trigger finger. So I'm going to alter my grip to put as much finger in the trigger as I can. I'm hoping I'm getting up all the way up to about that second distal joint in my trigger finger, and I'm going to see if I can't make that shot outside of that bullseye. Here we go. So I'm altering my grip to really get around the gun. So I'm aiming at the sights and fire. Oh, man. It still didn't do anything. I'm now 3 for 3, and I've got 1 hole here and 2 in the same hole. That was with way too much trigger finger in a gun, and it still didn't affect anything. So we got number 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, 4. Number 4 and or number 5. We got tightening fingers and jerking or slapping the trigger. So tightening the fingers, I'm going to tighten all the fingers and try to press the trigger with the entire hand, strong hand, and see if that makes any difference. So we're backed up again, and sights are aligned, and I'm going to press the trigger with the entire hand. Damn it. I'm 4 for 4, and I'm still in the bullseye. In fact, I'm still literally just 2 small holes there. I've got 3 in basically the same ragged hole and in my very first shot. So, of course, then, like I said, the other half of that pie chart says jerking or slapping the trigger. So for this next shot, I'm going to go ahead and align the sights as best I possibly can. And I'm literally going to have my finger all the way on the outside of the trigger guard, and I'm just going to yank through that trigger and see if that makes any sort of difference in my level of accuracy. Here we go. So fingers outside the trigger and slap. Oh my gosh. I'm still on the bullseye, but weirdly enough, I slapped the hell out of the trigger and pushed the gun down a little bit. It had nothing to do with tightening the grip while pulling the trigger, but okay, I guess. So I guess I could try that one more time just to see if maybe that has the same thing. So I'm gonna slap the trigger again. Nope, still right smack dab in the middle of the bullseye. So, I mean, even when I gave it the hardest input I possibly could, I'm close to outside my pie chart on tightening the grip while pulling the trigger, but I didn't tighten the grip when I pulled the trigger. I kept my grip exactly the same and consistent. I simply hammered through the trigger, right, or jerked the trigger, or accelerated the trigger press by not prepping the trigger. And weirdly enough, that diagnostic chart led me the wrong direction. So if I were going to make a correction, I'd make the wrong correction. So let's keep going. So number 6, it says breaking wrist down, pushing forward, or drooping head. Hell, I'm going to try to do all 3 of those things. So I'm going to break the wrist down, I'm going to push forward, and I'm going to droop the head, and we're going to see what happens here. So droop the head down, breaking the wrist forward, and pushing. That was as best as I could possibly do it, guys. And I'm still left with the shot directly in the bullseye. Again, like I said, we're at 7 yards here. This is where everybody believes, right, the miracles of this particular target and the value that it brings. I'm telling you right now, it's not bringing any value to me. So, tightening grip while pulling the trigger. Weirdly enough, that's kind of what this one says, tightening fingers and then tightening the grip while pulling the trigger. So I don't know if I was supposed to tighten just the fingers or tighten my entire grip or what was going on, but we'll dismiss that one. So now we've got 2 little trigger finger. This is the other sacred cow, right? Is if we're going too deep and I was left with a shot directly in the bullseye, surely if I pull my finger all the way out to the side of the trigger and press it, I'm going to end up probably pulling the gun one way or the other. And well, let's see what happens. So I'm going to put 2 little finger on the trigger. So I'm just going to barely apply pressure enough right there, just enough to break the shoe safety, and we're going to see what happens. Okay, you ready? So 2 little finger on the trigger. Damn it. Still nothing. So 2 little finger didn't get me anywhere. Too much trigger finger didn't get me anywhere. pushing or anticipating recoil or no follow through. No follow through. Anticipating recoil or pushing. All right, well, I'll do this one more time. I think I got 2 more rounds, so we're gonna see what happens. So pushing, anticipating recoil, and no follow through. So I'm gonna squeeze the gun out, and I don't know if there was any follow through. I didn't see the sights lift or return. All I did was saw the sights right at the moment that I began applying pressure to the trigger. So 0 follow through once again, and I've still got holes all inside that bullseye. And I'm doing nothing as far as like prepping trigger. I'm doing nothing as far as like altering my grips or anything else that needs to be done. You know, or I'm making these drastic changes to the gun. But the one thing that I'm not letting go of is my visual acuity to what the sights are doing and how I'm managing those sights all the way through the press of every single shot. That's all that matters. It has nothing to do with trigger finger placement. It has nothing to do with healing, anticipation, any of that. Everything that matters when you got a shot that is accurate is the fact that you didn't visually or mentally check out or let go of the shot before you finished firing it. The second thing is when you build or when you have a misconception, or not a misconception, but a miss or a, damn it. I'm sorry, my brain's going a million miles an hour. I just can't believe this. This has happened to me. But when you have a miss or have an errant shot in your training, right, or anytime that you pick up the pistol and fire, it's simply because you let go of one of 2 fundamentals that are absolutely important to pistol shooting. And that is, one, first of all, you need to just grip the gun. And I'm not even going to get into the nuances of what kind of grip is necessary. Let's just suffice it to say you need to grip the gun in order to hold the sights or the red dot still enough so that whatever pressure that you apply to the trigger doesn't move the gun around, right? So that's key number 1. Key number 2 is you need to visually be focused and processed in on that dot or on that sight picture, front sight to rear sight, that entire sight picture as it relates to the target throughout the entire press of the trigger. So it's all the way up to, including, and throughout when the gun goes bang. So if you are literally like checking out, letting go, closing your eyes, blinking, or anything like that, that's what's causing a lot of the errant misses or the miscalculations in your shots. So I've got one more shot in here, and I'm going to give it my best to just, I don't know, screw this up as no matter how hard I can, just straight from the holster and see what happens. So I got one more draw here. And I don't know, I was pretty quick on the trigger, and I was still left with a completely accurate shot. Like I said, at a distance of 7 yards. So the one shot that I got really crazy with and jerked and slapped actually ended up over here, but I'm left-handed, and this is a left-handed chart. So it tells me that jerking or slapping the trigger should be something over here. Guys, this chart is meaningless. It is useless. Stop sharing misinformation. This is terrible. If you really want to improve your shooting, like I said, focus on 2 key fundamentals, and that is gripping the gun to keep the sights from moving while you're pressing the trigger, right? And the second one is manage the sights visually all the way through the press of the trigger. Don't let go visually. Don't think that your job is done by aligning the sights and like, okay, now I can just apply whatever pressure to the trigger I want, or now I can disregard the sight alignment, or now I can disregard grip, or now I can disregard anything else. There, you have to be able to focus on that process, which is grip the gun, manage the sights. All of this crap, completely meaningless. Till next time, stay safe. Actually, stay dangerous, as William April would say. And we'll see you next time on the range.